Selena, I just met a girl named Selena. And suddenly, anybody ever sing that to you before?
Okay, so that's really funny that you brought that up because my sister's name was Annette Marie. And so West Side Story came out when I was a little kid and they were singing that song, Maria, all the time. And I was like, why isn't there a song about Selena? Why is it Maria? And so my dad would sing it to Selena.
Do you think your life would have been materially different had your name been Betty or Elizabeth? Do you think you'd be doing what you're doing now, traveling all over the back and beyond, writing the way you're writing?
Yes. Now, if I didn't have this hair, that might be different. But
For folks listening to this for the first time, Selena Zito writes a terrific column called From the Middle of Somewhere. The first time I saw her was on a cable news show, and I was on after you, I think. I think it was Tucker, and I just remember him saying, Selena Zito's up next. And I was walking out to get a cup of coffee before I came down here to Zoom, and I thought, what will Selena Zito look like, and what will she have to say? So it was your name that pulled me back to my computer. And then it was, of course, your many prescient thoughts and observations on the human condition that made me a fan. And Chuck, have you read her latest screed?
I have, yes. I wouldn't describe it as such, but yes.
You do a great job, Selena, of making your point respectfully, going to where the story is. But I'm talking now, of course, transitioning roughly right into the whole student loan thing, which you've written about. And I detected a tone of exhaustion and are you kidding me in your words? Was I reading too much into them?
yeah. No, you're not reading too much into it. It comes from personal experience, but even more so, it comes from the people that I cover, right? I live in Western Pennsylvania, sort of the Paris of Appalachia. And where I cover goes from there out. So across the Midwest, down south through Appalachia, into Texas, all the way out to Utah and Colorado. I travel along small roads, back roads, either old U.S. routes or state routes, to find what's going on in the country. These are the people that are most affected by what Washington does, no matter who is in charge. Mm-hmm. But this one was in particularly very sort of frustrating because it was the government doing what they do either best or worse, in that they were choosing one section of the country to be successful and to be rewarded.
Yes.
Rewarded for what my parents would say would be bad behavior. And that is taking out a loan and then relying on other people, often other people that already repaid their loan and or never went and took out a loan, but found success in their life. And we're talking, of course, about student loans and the Biden administration's decision to forgive student loans up to $10,000 to $20,000, as long as your salary doesn't exceed $125,000. And surely people that I cover either didn't go to college and or went to a trade school or went to community college and or went to a 4-year or got a higher degree, but paid their bill off.
As you know, this one hit pretty close to home for me. The people you're describing in the beat that you've embraced are by and large very similar to the people I've featured on Dirty Jobs over the last 20 years. And of course, there's no greater corollary than to the 1,700 people that my foundation has awarded work ethic scholarships to, people who affirmatively do not wish to go to a 4-year university but want to learn a trade. So I'm mindful of the fact that I'm biased. Maybe you are a little too, given your roots.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just admit that. But it's still awfully interesting to me to see the general sense of outrage around this, as opposed to the great bailouts in 2008 and 2009. I'm still pissed off about the banks getting away with it. I'm livid, And when I write about this on Facebook, Selena, the student debt thing, people were like, well, where were you in 2008? And I'm like, well, I was right here, still outraged, right?
Still pissed off, yeah.
Right.
Yes. And so what makes this different than every other decision the government has made to call winners or losers or encourage one kind of behavior over another or put their thumb on the scale? Why has this resonated so deeply with so many people?
Well, first, I think we both should clarify is that we do have a bias towards this, even if it's a scooch.
Mm-hmm.
But that bias is based on geography, not on politics. That's based on where we're from. That's based on place, right?
Yes.
We are a country of the place and the placeless. And I believe that your bias is probably very similar to mine. We both started out in community college. And so we have a sense of place and where we come from. But we also have a sense of our of that sort of pool, right? You drop a pebble into the water and you watch the circle go out. We have a sense of that circle, and we can see those people to the left and right of us who all did the right thing. Why is this one so hard? Because the people that benefited from the most are the elite. And
Right.
the people that are hurt by it the most are the people that go to the elite's house and fix their air conditioning. Or fix
So you
their
have
plumbing.
carpenters and HVAC people, plumbers who are going in and paying off the loans of doctors and lawyers and things.
Exactly. It's very tangible.
Yeah.
You can feel it. And it makes us feel resentful towards the people that are getting this and who we naturally wouldn't be resentful for. We like our doctor.
Yes.
We need our lawyer.
Right.
Yes.
But now this is divisional politics at its worst in terms of pitting us against each other. Let's step back and look at my profession for a minute. The best journalist I have ever worked with never went to college. They were just really good writers and really knew how to find the story.
Tell me
And they
about that
knew-
person. Who specifically
And-
are you talking about?
My editor at the Trib years ago. Her name was Sandy Tolliver, and she didn't go to college. But I have never worked under a better editor in my entire career. And I saw her work her way up from being the cops reporter and then covering school boards and then covering City Hall and then working her way into being the city desk editor and to eventually becoming one of the managing editors of the newspaper. And she had gut and she had instinct and she knew how to tell a story and take the BS out when the BS needed to be taken out.
And she doesn't get hired
never
today.
lost. No, she doesn't.
Because she doesn't have a degree.
Most newspapers require an Ivy League degree.
I feel like screaming, Chuck. You mind?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's so heartbreaking when you think about the waste of talent. The number of people today who could be, in relative terms, in any number of companies who are just like Sandy Tolliver, who have smarts, ambition, natural talent, gumption, and a work ethic to beat the band. Those people today, I'm sorry to have to say it like this, but they are under assault. They are not valued. They are not sought. They are not encouraged, and they are not rewarded. People say to us all the time, work ethic scholarships. Why? Well, because who else is doing it? How do we find the next Sandy Tolliver? That's what every employer worth her or his salt should be asking themselves today.
She was the kind of boss where you wanted to do a really good job. And she is in my head. Like she occupies a space in my head every day when I write, even though I don't answer to her anymore. Why?
Yeah. Hey, wait a
Because
minute.
she
That's my
always
job.
demands the best from me. And so when I get a note, like I did about the story that you were in, Mike, she was like, "Good job, Zito." I'm like, "Thank you, Jesus."
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Nothing like a good attaboy or attagal,
Yeah.
I should say.
And Chuck, this is the thing. Attaboys get cheapened when they come from sources you neither respect nor admire.
Yeah.
The level of respect that you feel for her, what did she do along the way to really engender that in you? I bet it wasn't a whole bunch of attaboys.
Oh no, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Right. It was
She
more
does
like,
that.
are you kidding me? Really?
I was
Yeah.
terrified. I was like, is my lead good? Do I have enough sources? Do I have all the, did I spell that right? Well, I'm the best reporter in the world because I'm dyslexic, right? So I'm always turning things inside out. I was terrified to get it wrong. You know what, guys? This program has drained my battery. Can I plug my
Well, yeah, for God's sakes, it's just getting interesting.
I just noticed that. I was like, oh,
super quick. Yeah. You better take care of it.
Go plug yourself in. She's awesome. We love Selena. So is this your home? What am I?
This is a set she's built just for this podcast.
Shit, you know what, dude? The woman travels constantly. There's no reason for me to assume that you're home.
Oh, you know what? That's fair.
Look behind me. Those are there we go. Sorry about that. That was great theater.
Not at all.
So when they talk about artisans, one of my favorite places in Knoll, West Virginia is Fiesta Wear. Are you familiar with Fiesta Wear at all?
Oh, it sounds like fancy underpants, but tell me more.
No. These beautiful, colorful. Can you see the dishes?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see all the colors over there.
Oh, yeah.
They're famous. It's the last American manufacturing pottery in America.
You're kidding.
And when I went in there and watched them make everything, I almost had these are true artisans. They love what they do.
Well, my favorite part was how you pronounced Collor.
Oh.
Keller.
Oh, yeah. That's a good.
These Kellers over here. These bright Kellers.
That's my one user word. I try to
Keelers.
say that word.
So many beautiful keelers. I honestly didn't pick it up, Chuck. I thought there was a hiccup in the audio, but that's actually what she sounds like when she says.
I'm gonna go. I have shame.
You're not going anywhere. You know what?